Now we are discussing about the features of IDTMA, the basic ones. More than 50% of revenue to the government comes from indirect taxes. The question is here, why more than 50% of revenue to the government comes from indirect taxes? What can be the reason? So that means Telugu. It's so nice to listen Telugu words. Very good. Fine. So that's why majority of the people will try to make the payment. That is the thing. So that's okay. So we are mandatory to pay. So that is the thing. So that's why more than 50% of the revenue comes from indirect taxes. Therefore, it is a major source of revenue to the government. Indirect taxes is a major source of revenue to the government. Okay, this is the first point. And second point will be, in this case, this is also the another feature of our IDTMA. Tax on goods and services. Tax on goods and services. So with respect to direct taxes, they are levied on persons, and whereas with respect to indirect taxes, they are levied on goods and services. That's why indirect taxes are levied either on the goods that are commodities or on the services. That's why another name for indirect taxation will be commodity taxation. Why indirect taxes is called as commodity taxation? Because it is levied on goods and services. That's why another name for indirect taxation will be commodity taxation. So because it is levied on goods and service, that is the second one. Okay, ma? So there is a possibility that this can be asked in MCQs if at all the question, paper is easy. What is the another name for indirect taxation? Commodity taxation, because we can't say in MCQs anything can be asked. Whether it is your standard or not, it does not make any difference there. So what is another name for indirect taxation? Commodity taxation is another name for indirect taxation. And next one will be shifting of tax burden is also the another feature of our IDTMA. Already we know this one also. From whom to whom the tax burden will be shifted generally? Actually, you owe me something, na? Yesterday. Yeah, you. Chocolate, you need to bring, na? This is the fine. Actually, I collected today. Where it is? And from the girls? Yeah. Okay, I will check it. Actually, don't eat actually till the completion of the class. I will check at the end of the class. So rule is rule, deal is deal. So everybody should be fair. If at all I need to bring, I also bring. Okay. But sometimes some exceptions may be there with respect to few people. Fine. With respect to that, shifting of tax burden, from whom to whom the tax burden will be shifted, ma? Okay. Manufacturer to distributor, distributor to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, and retailer to consumer. What this process is known as? Supply chain. This total process is known as supply chain. This total process is known as supply chain. Manufacturer to distributor, distributor to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, and retailer to consumer. Okay. And you can observe here, he is the ultimate person that is bearing the tax liability. He is the consumer. And this is the tax liability. He is the ultimate person that is bearing the tax liability. What is meant by the word consumer? Who consumes? What is it? Who consumes the goods? Wow, it is a smart answer. The who is a consumer means generally the person who purchases the goods for his personal use. The person who purchases the goods for his personal use will be the consumer until the goods reach the hands of the consumer. The tax burden will be shifted from one person to another person, like manufacturer to distributor, distributor to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, and retailer to consumer. So who is the consumer here? The person who purchases the goods for his personal use, not for any resale purpose. Until the goods reach in the hands of that particular person, what is the position, ma? Definitely tax burden will be shifted from one person to another person. That is the thing you need to remember. Okay. And with respect to shifting of tax burden also, another point is there. Here tax burden being indirect tax, seller will only act as a mediator. He will collect the tax from the other party who is known as buyer, and buyer is the ultimate person who will pay the indirect tax. In whatever the indirect tax it is, always the tax burden will be there on buyer only. But whereas in our GST, the words seller and buyer are going to be replaced by supplier and recipient. The word seller will be replaced by supplier, whereas the word buyer will be replaced by recipient. So who is the ultimate person that will bear the tax liability? Recipient. So supplier will only act as a mediator and simply remits the tax which is collected from the recipient. That's why with respect to indirect taxes, tax burden will be shifted from one person to another person up to which stage? Until the goods reach the hands of final consumer who purchases the goods for his personal use. That is the point. And next point will be, already we know this one, no perception of direct pinch. What is meant by this word? No perception of direct pinch, ma? Yeah, with ignorance we will pay the tax. Just like the people who are there in the blue color are actually shifting the tax burden to the other party. Other party actually does not know that thing. So that's why actually the tax burden was shifted to him after the discolor was changed. Just like that. Okay. That means the persons without knowing that they are actually paying the tax, simply they will pay that. With ignorance, they will pay that. That's why the specified name for this concept is no perception of direct pinch. That means with ignorance, we will pay the tax. That is the thing you need to remember. Okay, ma. And how many features just now we discussed, ma? What is the first one? More than 50% of revenue to the government comes from indirect taxes. That's why it is a major source of revenue. What is the second one? Tax on goods and services. That's why another name for that is commodity taxation. What is the third one? Shifting of tax burden. Tax burden will be shifted from one person to another person until the goods reach the hands of consumer. And fourth one, no perception of direct pinch. With ignorance, we will pay the tax. This is the point. And fifth point will be inflation. So what is the link between inflation and indirect taxes? Why it happens? That was my question. Okay, that means because of increase in raw material costs, the finished goods price will increase. It may lead to inflation. Okay, any chain link with respect to because of this, because of that, like that? Any chain link? That means any elaborative answer with respect to the thing you told me?
Profit margin?
Okay. Finished goods. Okay. Okay, very good. Any other answer? Okay. In simple sense, I'm not asking you regarding any GST related or your articles exposure is not required here. A simple answer is, let's say manufacturer is there. He sold the goods to one distributor. What you said is right, ma. I got your point. So manufacturer sold the goods to distributor. Let us assume that this is a value. If at all there is no indirect tax, how much amount the distributor is needed to invest? 10 lakhs. Because of indirect taxes, how much amount you need to invest now? 11 lakhs 25,000. That means because of indirect taxes, what will increase? Additional investment will increase. When additional investment increases, working capital increases. When working capital increases, borrowing costs will increase. When borrowing cost increases, total cost will increase. When total cost increases, sale price increases. It may lead to inflation. That is the link. Because of indirect taxes, additional investment will increase. When additional investment increases, working capital will increase. When working capital increases, borrowing cost will increase. When the borrowing cost increases, total cost. It may lead to increase in the sale price. Ultimately, it may lead to increase in the total prices and it may lead to inflation. But keep it in mind, indirect taxes are one of the reason for inflation, but not the one and only reason. Yes, sir. Indirect taxes are one of the reason for inflation, but not the one and only reason. That point also should be kept in mind. Don't misunderstood that because of indirect taxes only inflation will increase. Sometimes it may not hold good. Say for example, before 2021, something like that, the petrol price was approximately some 75 or 78 or below 80. But now what is the petrol price? Approximately 110 rupees. So why there is a sudden shift in the price of the petrol? Because of Russia-Ukraine war. So here, because of indirect taxes, the prices will not increase. Due to some global factors, some macro elements, they will also decide. Because why ma? Because when the petrol prices increases, transport costs automatically will increase. Because you need transportation everywhere, na? With respect to every good. Automatically when the petrol price increases, transport cost increases, ultimately it may result in increase in the product price, na? Yes or no? That is the thing. And in the same way with respect to the oil, what we are using, cooking oils, why those prices were increased? Because of indirect taxes? No. Why ma? Why? Because of Russia-Ukraine war only. Because with respect to almost some 60 to 70% of the Indian oil, cooking oils related, they are from Ukraine only. So with respect to Ukraine, all those things are now stopped. Na? That's why the one and only person who is supplying is that some Indonesia, something is there. So Malaysia is also. Indonesia, I think, as far as I remember. Actually, they are supplying palm oil or something like that. Almost in our imports, 60% of our imports approximately from that particular Indonesia only. So they are actually banned that particular exportation of palm oil there because of the scarcity in their local market. That's why the palm oil prices suddenly increased. So the palm oil prices suddenly increased because of Indonesian ban, but not of indirect taxes. So that's why I'm saying that indirect taxes are one of the reason for inflation, but not the one and only reason. That is the thing we need to remember. Okay, ma? So the next point will be wider tax base. What is meant by this word, wider tax base? That means there is no discrimination of rich and the poor with respect to our IDT. Everybody is equal. There is no discrimination of with respect to rich and the poor with respect to our indirect taxes. Let's say it's a rich person's cigar or it may be a beggar's bedi. It does not make any difference. both the people are liable to pay tax on their tobacco consumption. It does not make any difference. Na? So BD is actually used by the beggars, so there should not be any indirect tax. So the indirect tax will not discriminate that. So if at all you consume that, you need to pay. That's why there is no discrimination of rich and the poor with respect to our indirect taxes. That's why indirect taxes will have a wider tax base in comparison with direct taxes, because majority of the people are need to pay the indirect taxes. That's why it may contribute to more than 50% of revenue. Because of wider reach and wider tax base, almost every person, including infant. The infant also is liable to pay the GST on the milk products he uses nowadays. Yes or no? Cerelac? Yes, ma, okay. Very good. So Cerelac, okay. And Cerelac is the thing. Less than 2 years. Infant means less than 2 years, na? Cerelac. For everybody, huh? Okay, fine. I can't remember that exactly. Okay, fine. I think you said definitely it will be true. Fine. So with respect to this point, ma'am, rich and the poor, there is no discrimination of rich and the poor with respect to indirect taxes. That's why it will have a wider tax base with respect to our indirect taxes. And the next one will be promotes social welfare. In which way the indirect taxes will promote the social welfare, ma? What is meant by sin good? Okay, the things which are harmful to the health and bring peace of mind to the person. Those are technically, yes, that is the thing. So with respect to those items, like alcohol, tobacco, on the sin goods, by levying huge volume of taxes, the government is reducing their consumption. In that way, the government is promoting the social welfare. That means the person who is actually taking 1 liter bottle, now he will take only half liter only. Instead of that, the government can ban it now. If the government wants to promote the real social welfare, what the government should do? Government should ban it now. Why the government is not doing that? Because the government is getting higher revenue. So even in the recession also, even in the time of COVID also, the thing which is actually run very efficiently, successfully is the liquor business. The prices are almost doubled at that time. Having the experience, wow. So you know everything. So that is the thing. So definitely, these are the things. So with respect to liquor and medicines, food, nowadays food, these three are generally the most successful businesses. These three are interlinked. Food and liquor, initially you will consume and ultimately you go to hospital. So that is ultimate chain link. So that's why with respect to these sin goods, by taxing more, the government will reduce its consumption, thereby promoting the social welfare. And last but not the least, with respect to our features of indirect taxes, regressive nature. What is meant by this regressive nature, ma? Irrespective of your income level, if the tax rate is flat or constant, it is known as regressive nature. Let's say the sale price is 100, the rate of tax, for example, remains the same. The sale price is 1000, then also the rate of tax remains the same. I know the 1000 is not there at present, but generally when I saw this 2000 rupees note or 500 notes, I don't have the feel that they are the real money. This royal look which is there to this 1000 is not there to 2000 or some 500 notes. So that's why in our Telugu what we call as Nanaku Premato Laga Notuku Premato. I'm still maintaining that one only. So that is the thing, why I just put 1000 there. The royal look which is there to the 1000 is not there to 2000 also nowadays. I think they are just like the paper money which will be there in Monopoly game, business game. Just they look like those things only. So anybody played game now? That means the dice will be rolled and you will purchase a property and all these things. The paper money will be given by the banker. So they almost look like similar to that money. So that's why I just put it here there, this 1000. So the sale value is 100, the rate of tax remains the same. Sale value is 1000, then also the rate of tax remains the same. Just like that, here the balls are changing. Just like that, the income levels may change. But how many people are cashing the balls? Only one. In the same way, tax rate remains the C. Those type of concepts are known as regressive nature. So already we know that direct taxes are progressive and indirect taxes are regressive. This is the point. With respect to features of our indirect taxes, total 8 points are there, ma. First one, major source of revenue, shortcut. Second one, commodity taxation. Third one, shifting of tax burden. Fourth one, no perception of direct pinch. Fifth one, inflation. Sixth one, wider tax base. Seventh one, promote social welfare. Eighth one, regressive nature. These are the 8 points with respect to features of our IDT. I'm having a small doubt here with respect to IDT. The first doubt is here with respect to IDT, ma, how many number of indirect taxes are there before implementation of GST? Approximately, with central government, what are the taxes that are levied by central? Yes, ma. Excise duty. Okay. Okay. So these are the taxes that are there under pre-GST era. That means the major taxes what we are discussing. Okay, with respect to that, central government levies some taxes, state government levies some taxes, and in the same way, local bodies also levy some taxes. Okay, my question is here, how the government is able to levy any tax, ma? How the government is able to levy any tax? Generally, the government needs money for the people. Why the government needs money for the people, ma? Because it is a duty of the government to provide to the developing needs of the people. That means the basic needs. Roti, kapada, makan. They should be provided to all. These are the basic needs that everybody wants. So to meet these needs, how the government will get the money, ma? Through taxes. Okay. Through taxes, government is getting the money. Okay. Now answer carefully for this question. Is government authorized to levy tax when money is needed? Yes or no is the only one answer I just want. Previously you said that by levying taxes the government is getting the money, and asked you the same question, you are saying no now. Previously I asked you how the government will get the money by levying taxes. But here I am asking you, whenever money is needed by the government is able to levy any tax. Answer is no. Now the question is, how the government is able to levy then that many number of taxes what we have discussed? Oh, so constitution. Okay. What is there in the constitution? So generally, in order to answer this particular question, constitution is okay. The article number you need to see is article number 265. Initially start with article number 265. What does article number 265 say? Simply, no tax shall be levied or collected except under the authority of law. That means what is meant by the word authority of law? Law means here enactment. That means act. So that means in order to levy any tax by the government, act is needed. Before going further, I am having a small doubt here. What is the difference between law and the act? Okay, before going further, I also had another doubt here. What is the difference between circular and notification? Okay, what is the basic difference between them? Why? 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 What is the reason? Why it is optional and why it is compulsory? Any, okay, answer is okay, but any clear cut answer with respect to that? Anybody knows? Okay, fine. What about notification and circular? This is the difference. So simply, uh, any other one? Anybody who wants to say? Oh, this is free. With respect to that deal, I will definitely say at first, in front of the question itself, I will say, for this question, there is an offer for you. So here, until I told you everything is free, you can say freely. No issue with respect to that. Anyone? Any other party who wants to say, ma? Okay. Generally, circulars are issued by the board, ma. With respect to our IDT, CBIC, and with respect to DT, CBDT will issue the circulars. Circulars, why they are issued is, circulars are generally clarification in nature. That's why they are named as circulars. Why they are given is, generally with respect to a particular thing, there should not be any ambiguity within the department itself. Let's say commissioner is saying you are liable to pay GST, whereas assistant commissioner is saying no, you are not liable. Again, superintendent is saying that you are partially liable. It should not be like that. There should be ambiguity with respect to the SSCs. That is okay. But with respect to department, there should not be any ambiguity. There should not be any confusion. Okay. In order to make it happen, definitely one rule should be followed throughout the system. In order to make it happen, the board will issue the circular. Okay, on the, say for example, on the manufacturing of this water bottle, GST to be paid. Okay, at the rate of 18%. Once the circular was issued, commissioner should say it should be 18%, assistant commissioner should say it is 18%, and superintendent and whatever the subordinates who are there, everybody should follow the same rule. For bringing uniformity within the department, circulars are issued. But whereas with respect to notification, they are issued by the government. Notifications are issued by the government. It is the delegative authority of the legislature. It is the delegated authority of the legislature to issue the notification. The answer is, why it is a delegated authority? Act should be made by the parliament only. It should be modified by the parliament only. But here the power was delegated to government. By notification, they will change the act. After that, they will put it in the parliament. That is different story. So that's why notification is issued by the government. That's why with respect to notification, they are binding not only on the department, but also on the SSC. But whereas with respect to circulars, who is issuing those circulars? Board. So the employees was bound by the instructions given by the boss, not the third party. Yes, sir. So who is the boss? CBIC. So whatever CBIC says, the employees like commissioners, all these people should listen to that. That's why circulars are binding only on the department, but not on the SSC. That is the reason. And apart from that, trade notice word is also there. Trade notice. Trade notice. What is the meaning of that word? Anyone? Mr. Odisha? Trade notice? Mr. Karnataka? Anyone? No. Trade notice is generally whatever the circulars or whatever the notices, generally they are there, they are in a technical language. But those things may not be understandable to the common people generally. Let's say, for example, if you issue a notice to a business person who is illiterate by specifying all these section numbers as per section 39, so you are liable to file the GSTR 3B on or before next month 20th. Otherwise, whatever the tax you need to pay, it should be collected as per section 73. Your notice will be issued to you, and along with interest as per section 50 at the rate of 18%, you need to pay that. Otherwise, as per section 79, recovery proceedings will be started, and as per section 150, your properties will be auction sale will be conducted, and they are sold. If at all you specify all these things, that illiterate person will thought that it is a lottery ticket by seeing all these section numbers. But instead of that, simply you say, if at all you did not pay the GST, your property will be sold. It will be understandable to him. So whatever the technical or the legal terminology that were there in all these circulars will be converted into simplified English language. English, I mean to say. Yeah. Is the easy one. That means if the circulars or whatever the things that are there in legal language, they're drafted in legal language. Bare Act, I mean to say. Bare Act is there, No, that is a different story. No. I come to that point now. So once those legal terminology is there, those are actually converted into simplified some documents like that, and they are sent to Chamber of Commerce generally. Not to individuals, they will not send. Generally, it will be sent to the Chamber of Commerce, With respect to Chamber of Commerce, they will say, okay, textile people, you are liable to pay GST from now onwards at the rate of 18%. So, this was, for reference, please refer this circular. In simple language, they will just put the summary there in the trade notice. Okay, from now onwards, you are liable to pay the GST at the rate of 18% on textile articles. So, to all textile members, if you want any further clarification, refer this circular number, so and so. That is called trade notice, simplified version of a circular, summary of a circular generally. And apart from this, another word is also there, rules, CGST rules. What is the difference between act and the rules, You just actually put so many questions by us telling those answers. Yeah. Yes, please. Repeat it once again. How much? Okay. That means rate of tax will not be there in the act, it will be there in the rules you are saying. Why it will be like that, if at all you said is right? Why it was like that? Why the rates are not there in the act, why they are in the rules? That is the thing. Act generally deals with when tax should be levied, how much tax should be levied, but how to collect the tax will not be there under Act, because it is a day-to-day procedural formality. Not only that, a due date will not be specified under Act. What is the tax audit due date, Income tax audit, yeah. General, what is Act due date that is specified under Act? I'm not talking about any extended dates. 30th September, 44 AB, I'm asking you. Okay, now. Okay, with respect to that September 30th was specified under 44 AB. September 30th due date was specified under 44AB. That was my question. Yes or no? Answer is no. They are specified under income tax rules because the date is going to be extended every year. If at all it is there in the act itself, every time you need to go to parliament to modify that. So that's why those day-to-day procedural formalities that will be there, instead of specifying them in the act, they will be put it in the rules, which can be modified by the government by passing a GO, government order. Just generally like that. Just with a pen and paper, they can modify the rule. But whereas with respect act, you can't do that. Nah? But every year you need to give extension to tax audit. So every year you need to go to parliament to change it. So that's why those due dates and how much tax rate will be there, how much tax you need to pay, that is also not there in the act. All these things will be there under rules. So act deals with when to levy the tax, how much tax needed to be paid, but how to collect the tax, recovery of the tax will be there under the rules only. On which date you need to pay, on which amount you need to pay. All these points will be specified under rules. Why ma? To change the rules is an easy task in comparison with changing the act. That is the thing. Now let's come to the original question, law and the act. Okay ma? Time up. In the tomorrow's session, we will say the answer with respect to the law and the act ma. I think from tomorrow's session, we are going to enter into GST. That's it for today's session. So any other issues, ma? With respect to material, I think I resolved the issues now.